All right, guys, today we got ourselves our mini preview and season win total projections for the Cincinnati Bengals. Over under is 11.5, under 11.5 at minus 134, over at plus 110. And we're going to go under 11.5 at minus 134. This is episode 6, I believe, of our season win total series. So let's jump right on into it. We'll start with the coaching staff. Zach Taylor stays. He's been a lot better the last year or two. Started off kind of iffy and was worried if he would even survive, but seems like that's his job now for a while. Callahan calling plays with him. And then we have the defensive coordinator, which I'm really surprised didn't get more job buzz or job interviews or whatever. I'm surprised he's still here. Lou Anarumo, really good coordinator, really good at making adjustments in game. The defense plays above its talent level all the time, and is probably down to him. But let's jump into the team. We don't got to talk much about Joe Burrow. He's a top 2 or 3 quarterback, depending on where we're top 2 to 5, whatever. However you put him, I put him at 3. Regardless, he is an excellent quarterback. That's not really going anywhere. His weapons are still excellent. Not much to say about Joe Burrow. Offensive line, though, it's not too bad. There are some pretty good spots. They add Orlando Brown Jr., of course, the left tackle. He was kind of inconsistent last year, but an obvious upgrade. And then Jonah Williams will probably move to right tackle. So we'll see how that kind of goes. Rest of the line is pretty decent, though. Volson played at left guard last year. He'll need to make another step up this year and kind of solidify that side. If that left side kind of struggles, Volson struggles, and Brown kind of can't fit in with him, it could be problematic. So Volson needs to take a step as well. Then we get into the running back room. Joe Mixon restructures his deal, stays in Cincinnati. It's a weird thing about Mixon because I kind of think he's getting worse, really, as a back. Last year, toward the end of the year, P. Ryan was taking a lot of his touches late in the year, but P. Ryan's gone, so it's kind of going to be up to Mixon and some other guys, I suppose. Evans, Brown, kind of the backups who are going to need to do some stepping up. And I think P. Ryan's a big loss, not because Mixon's bad or anything, but because he's a good complement to Mixon. He's a good pass-catching back. Mixon can be that, but P. Ryan's a nice back to have. I think it's a downgrade on the room as a whole. Tight end, they lose Hayden Hurst, add Irv Smith. Downgrade, maybe. Slight stay the same, I guess. Not much movement here. Irv Smith has the tools to go ahead and be a good tight end, and this is kind of where tight ends start to break out, so we may see that from him. As I said, he's got the tools, but he just hasn't put it together for a whole season. He's had some injuries and things like that, so we'll see at tight end, but a lateral move at best here at tight end. Wide receiver group, definitely one of those positions you don't have to talk about too much here. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, an incredible 1, 2, 3. You can have a tough time covering all of them. It's as simple as that. Depth is what it is. Not great, but if the top 3 guys stay healthy, this is an incredible passing attack, and Joe Burrow will get them the football. It's going to be tough for teams to find 3 guys to cover all 3 of these guys on a single day, so it's a great wide receiver room. Defensive line, this is a good spot. This is a position group that looks like it's getting better and not necessarily, I don't know how to say this, it's getting better, but also getting better long term. We can talk about Hubbard and Hendricks on the edge, good pass rushers, not edge, but on the edge, good pass rushers, of course. In the middle, Reeder, Hill were really good run stopping. They're a little bit light depth wise interior, but they're very good on the top level there. And then they have what's his name? Why am I missing his name? Miles Murphy, just drafted, good athletic, not a position of need, but this is where the rotation comes. This, all the good teams in this position, it feels like they draft at this spot late in the draft all the time. It's a good draft pick, Miles Murphy. And then Joseph Asai, who might have a breakout season. He was having a really good end to the year last year. I know he had that boneheaded play that lost him that one game, but overall, he looks like he might have a breakout year this year, so a really good spot to be in. Linebacker room didn't really change, so we're going to get the same productivity, I feel like, out of the linebacker room, and then we can go into the secondary. This is the biggest question mark on the team. They lose Von Bell. They lose Eli Apple and Jesse Bates. It's 3 starters, 2 starters at safety, 2 good players. Jesse Bates, an incredible safety. I understand not paying a safety, but he's gone regardless of if paying him was a good idea or not. He is not in the room anymore. Von Bell's not in the room anymore. And Eli Apple, whatever people may think of him, he was a serviceable two. And they're going to have a tough time kind of dealing with this. They bring in Nick Scott. Daxton Hill's going to be pushed into that safety role. He's kind of a hybrid, but pushed into that safety role a lot of the time this year. He's going to have to be. Nick Scott gets bought in, but Nick Scott had a really, really bad year last year in coverage. I think he was 123 out of 125 qualifying safeties on PFF's coverage grade there, and of safeties, it's really not good. So he'll have to step back up in that position. Corner for Eli Apple, I guess it's Taylor Bratt. DJ Turner gets drafted. My thing with DJ Turner is he's an incredible athlete. He can cover. I think he's gonna have a hard time stepping up into this league right away. A corner is obviously an incredibly difficult position for any rookie to step up into. Probably the most difficult nowadays. But his stature, his athleticism is so crazy sometimes that it's a detriment to him. Almost, it's a weird set of skills to come in and dominate right away. So he'll be rotating in and out, and hopefully he can give them some plus performances. But I'm not expecting him to jump into that 2 and hold down that 2 all year long. So, we'll see how that goes. And then we can look at the schedule. It's not easy. At Cleveland, Baltimore, at the Rams, at Titans, at Arizona, Seattle, all before the bye. 2 division games to start off the year. Baltimore are going to be better, though they get that game at home early, which is probably better for them. And then they got 3 winnable games in a row there. LA, Tennessee, and Arizona on the road before they come home and play Seattle, which is a good spot to play Seattle, I believe. Though they go right into the bye, and then their toughest stretch of the season right here after the bye at San Francisco, Buffalo, Houston, then at Baltimore, Pitt, and then at Jacksonville. That is a deadly stretch, a really difficult stretch. And the bye being early in the year for contenders is not ideal. Cincinnati, week 6, 7? It's not where you want it to be when you're a contender. You want it to be late on in the season so you can kind of reset going into the playoffs. But their toughest stretch comes out of the bye, and then they're going to have to play, 9, 10 games after the bye, and then go into the playoffs. It's really, really not ideal. And the placement of a lot of these games on the schedule is just really not ideal. So, they end with Indianapolis, Minnesota, at Pitt, at Kansas City, and Cleveland. If they need games late in the season, really tough spots. Away to Kansas City, who's obviously incredible, and then away to Pittsburgh, who'll probably be in a similar position, although hope to be. The defense is really good. And then what was the last one? Cleveland. We talked about Cleveland. Deshaun Watson is what it is, but actually, I believe our next deep dive will be into Cleveland, but that's a really, really good roster. And if Deshaun Watson gets it together, it's a really tough game. So difficult, not easy. It's also a very difficult division. They may win 10 games and win the division. It's kind of one of those things. We did under 11.5 here at -134. I have it at exactly 11.25, I believe I have it at. So we're going under, but this is a good football team. Just because we picked the under doesn't mean it's a bad football team. It's just a lot of difficult things working against it. And despite the fact that it's a similar team to last year, I believe the secondary got worse, and in a passing league, that may lose you another game or two. So we'll see there. But Bengals over under 11.5. We go under -134. We have another episode tomorrow. I believe it's Cleveland Browns. It is in alphabetical order, so look out for that. And that's the end for the Bengals.